Yo. Welcome into the ChrisBeCappinn Show, man. Today is the 14th of September, and we have 4 WNBA. Don't ask me why Kathy put all the games on at the same time, because that's the type of thing that Kathy does. And they're not even on at the same time, but they're all on the same day, and it's NFL Sunday, of course. So, yeah, it's kind of stupid in my opinion, but it is what it is. Let's jump into the games for today, though, man. There are a couple looks that I want to share with you guys. As always, hit the like button for me if you can as you join. Turn the notification bell on if you guys are watching over on YouTube, so you know when I do go live. We don't have any more games until Tuesday, and then Wednesday. In a couple of these series, I think we'll end on Tuesday and Wednesday for sure. I think it's only going to take 2 games, but we'll jump into it for today. I am going to go through all of the things, man. So all of the things. Parlay Money Bag says, "What's good, Chris? What you been on? What you've been on lately? Been a minute. Yeah, ready for the NBA, man. Yeah, NBA is right around the corner as well. So yeah, we got a lot to talk about. A lot to talk about for these first 4 games, though, in the W. So let's do just that. Let's jump into it. Real quick recap. Over the full season, my first losing WNBA season that I've had, minus 10, a little over 10.5 units on the season. But now is the time. And I talked about this in the last video. Now is the time to really start to get those coins back, in my opinion. Try to get those units back, potentially even finish the season up a couple units. And I got some looks that I think are going to be able to do that. So as always going to be transparent with you guys. Last year, I think I finished up 8 units in the WNBA. But this year has not been. I've gave away all that and more. So still got the playoffs. And I like a couple of these matchups. So let's jump into it. First up, we'll start with Jackson, your AI sports betting tool, on Thursday, which was the last day that we saw WNBA action. Jackson, like Veronica Burton, under her 12.5 points. That was a winner. She finished with 8. And Janelle Salon over her 1.5 threes. That was a loser. She went 0 for 6 from the 3-point line. And they got smoked in that game too. And we'll see the rematch today. So 1-1 day for Jackson on Thursday. As far as the looks for Jackson today, Jackson likes Emma Miesemann over 12.5 points plus rebounds. The analysis says that Emma Miesemann of the New York Liberty is showing incredibly strong. Form heading into her matchup against the Phoenix Mercury. Despite the Mercury's defensive ranking of 4th against her position, Miesemann has consistently exceeded this line, especially in recent games against this very opponent. So Miesemann has hit the over in 100% of her last 5 games, averaging 18 points plus rebounds. Over her last 10 games, she's also gone over 80% of the time, with an average of 16.8. Her season-long hit rate is an impressive 88.24%. So yeah, over that line, over that time, she's averaged 18.53. Matchup history, she only played against the Mercury 1 time this season. She did hit the over in that line, 21 points plus rebounds in that game. While playing on the road, she's also hit the over 100% of the time, averaging 19.7 points plus rebounds. So Emma Miesemann, you can get her 12.5. Shop around, see where you can get the best number. But Emma Miesemann over her 12.5 points plus rebounds is minus 130. Is on FanDuel, is what Jackson is telling me. Next player prop is Ezzy Magmabor over her 5.5 rebounds. So it says that she is of the Seattle Storm, is another player whose recent rebounding numbers is historical performance against her opponent makes this a strong play for her over as well. She faces the Aces, who rank 13th in against her position as far as rebounding is concerned. So a recent matchup, she's been on a force on the boards, hitting the over 80% of her last 5 games, averaging 6.6 boards. This trend continues over her last 10 games. She's also hit the over in 80% of the games, averaging 6.2 boards. Her season-long hit rate of 6.18, with the 63.64% over hit rate makes this a favorable matchup for Ezzy. And then against the Aces this season, she's played particularly compelling. As she's hit the over in 100% of her 3 matchups, averaging 12.67 rebounds. This suggests she thrives in this specific matchup. So with consistent recent production and a history of strong rebounding against the Las Vegas Aces, I'm recommending over 5.5 rebounds for Ezzy Magmabor. And this looks like minus 138. So a little juiced. Day of, you're probably going to get some juice lines as well. And this makes a lot of sense, especially with Malunga, not being 100%. Or at least not playing her full allotment of minutes over the last few games. So those are the 2 looks for Jackson. Emma Miesemann over her points plus rebounds, and Ezzy Magmabor over her 5.5 boards. Let's jump into the games. Again, if you joined late, do me a favor, hit that like button for me on the way in. Let's jump into the first matchup. We got the Valkyries. They will be in Minnesota today. This is the 1 o'clock start time game. This line opened like 13.5, and it came down all the way to 12. I saw it touch 12 yesterday, and then it got, it's still some 12.5s out there, but now it's back to 13.5, and the total only went down, right? Open 149.5. I saw this as low as 147.5. There are still some 147.5s, but consensus about 148. And this is a very difficult matchup. So we start with the injury report. There's no Tiffany Hayes, which I think is absolutely tremendous in this game, especially with, the way that they need her for her offensive capability, somebody that can stretch the floor. She's the point guard as well. And she's probably the most veteran leader on the team, but they will not have her. Report got hurt in that last game, but she's not on the injury report. She will be in for this game. And then on the Lynx side of things, Dejanay Carrington is listed as probable. I do think that they were just resting her. Now, could she be rusty? Yes. Could we potentially see some Dejanay? I don't even know if her lines are out, but could we see some unders for Dejanay? Yes. She hasn't played in, I think, the last like 4 or 5 games for the Minnesota Lynx. They kind of wanted to rest her up. I think it was a shoulder injury that she was dealing with. So we go back and look at the regular season games. Minnesota did win all 4 of them. They covered the second one. They covered the fourth one, which was the most recent one. And both of those games were the ones that were played at home. I looked at Golden State, and Golden State, you got to give Golden State a round of applause. They've, as their first year in the WNBA, inaugural season, they've done well, right? They finished with the 3rd best defensive rating on the full season. But the problem is Golden State just shoots a bunch of threes, and their offense is not great, right? 4th lowest offensive rating on the road as well, 100.5, which only team that was better was the only team they were better than were Chicago, Washington, and Connecticut. All 3 teams missed the playoffs. So I do think Golden State, with the defense that the Minnesota Lynx are capable of playing, the mindset that the Minnesota Lynx have, especially being, feeling like the championship last year was stolen from them. I can't lay this big of a number because 13 is a lot, but this was the number 1 rated, net rated team, offensive rated team, defensive rated team. You can see it. The proof is in the pudding. All of these numbers are accurate that you see on the screen here. What I wrote in my notes was, so they finished 11.3 net rating so they had a offensive rating at 11.4, and they were plus 11.4 in offensive rating, and defensive rating, the net rating of 16.8 was also the best in the WNBA for Minnesota. So if you want to lay this big of a number, you think Golden State absolutely gets mollywop. Minnesota, back at home, in front of their home crowd, playoff time again. I can understand it, but I think you got to give Golden State a little bit of respect. As far as the total goes, it's so low, I can't bet the under. I really wanted to bet the under. 149.5, that's extremely low as well. The Golden State Valkyries averaged 76 points on the road this season, 75 as a road dog. As a double-digit road dog, they were also 3-0 to the under. But even in those games, they averaged 158 points. The Lynx were 8-4-1 to the under as double-digit home favorites. But again, those games average 158 points as well. So I think this is a tad bit too low. You're looking for the Valkyries to get to 68 points, and I think that they potentially could. So I couldn't bet the under. That's the only way I really wanted to look. I do think that Minnesota absolutely shuts the water off for the Valkyries. As long as they can guard the 3-point line, I think the Valkyries are going to be in for a rude awakening in this game. The Valkyries are, last thing I'll mention, the Valkyries are a team that shoots a bunch of threes, right? They actually shot more threes than any other team in the WNBA at 30 per game. But they shot the 3rd worst percentage. They shot just 32.5%. Minnesota finished 8th in 3-point defense from a opponent 3-point field goal percentage standpoint, but they also allowed the 5th fewest attempts on the season. So Minnesota's offense is going to get going. I think somebody from Minnesota is going to end up having to shoot and make a bunch of threes because Golden State's not going to let Nafisa Collier just get downhill, play one-on-one, because they know that that's their bread and butter. And Natalie Nakase, probably coach of the year, is going to make sure that she takes away their best option. So I think Nafisa Collier could potentially struggle in this matchup. I expect that to see a lot of double teams. And Kayla McBride, Courtney Williams are going to have big games, in my opinion. So that's my thought process. I didn't bet this game, though. I think I'm going to stay off of this one. What up, Kenneth? Appreciate you for tapping in. What's up, Mark? Says, good morning, Chris. Nice to have your energy back on the screen. Appreciate you, Mark. Hope all is well with you, man. What's up, Trey? Says, what's up, brother? Playoff time. Let's go. What up, Doms? It's good to see you live as well. I smell money today. Me too. Hopefully the smell is the correct smell. Hopefully it's the right smell, Doms. Let's see. See. Oh, appreciate that, Trey. Appreciate that for sure. What up, Fade King? Says, let's go, big dog. Props about to be a lot easier to hit now. Yeah, I think you take some unders for sure. Let's talk about the props in just a second too. Dom says, I think this series could get ugly, especially with the Valkyries not playing their home games at Chase Center. Yeah, I talked about this in the last stream. I'm glad Dom's mentioned it, right? So, and I didn't mention this at the beginning of the stream either. So people who aren't familiar with the format of the WNBA. So this first round will be a 1-1-1 if necessary, a 1-1-1 format. So the first game will be in Minnesota. The second game should be at Chase Center or Ball Hall, whatever you want to call it, but it's not going to be. They had a scheduling conflict, which means that the Valkyries won't even play their home game at home. They're going to have to, I don't even know what stadium they got, but they got some stadium. I think they were looking for a stadium in Oakland or something. And it's going to be packed for sure, but it's not going to be that same Chase Center Ball Hall environment. I think the Minnesota Lynx will win the series in 2 games. They've won all 4 games so far this season. Golden State is a really good defensive team, but offensively, I just don't think they have enough. Even if they give you a good half, I don't think that they're going to be able to beat this Minnesota team and hold them down. Not with Coach Cheryl Reeves on the other side and the adjustments that I'm thinking that she's going to be able to make. So, yeah, Golden State, it just sucks that you drew the Valkyries because you probably had a better chance against maybe anybody else. Mark says he laid the 12.5. He says, I agree. I think it's gotten too low, but no bet, and I agree with that as well. Mark says, I may play Minnesota third quarter, and that absolutely has been money. I kind of wanted to play the Valkyries team total under 67.5, if I'm being honest, but I didn't get there. I also considered the Valkyries first half team total because it feels like their offense struggles even more on the road than it does at home in the first half. But that was like 33.5. I'm like, man, like 16 and 17. I think that they probably will be able to get to that. But again, these are the 2 slowest paced teams in the WNBA. Minnesota finished 2 of the slowest teams in the WNBA. The Valkyries are probably going to try to make this game a snail's pace. That would not surprise me at all. They are the slowest paced team in the WNBA by far. And the Lynx also win with their defense as well. Number 1 in defensive rating. They also finished 10 in pace as well. So they also play super slow. So no bet for me. But if you guys chose to play it, I wish you the best. From a player prop perspective, I do want to go over just really quickly and show you guys one that I was looking at. So we'll transition over to Outlier. This is linked in the description if you guys are new and want to check out Outlier. So this is Veronica Burton. Because there's no Tiffany Hayes, Veronica Burton just seems like it makes a lot of sense. I think her minutes are going to be there. You can just see these are her last 10 games. She's averaging right at 31 minutes. That's right here where my mouse is kind of hovered over. We expect her to be on the floor. We know that Natalie Nicasio is probably going to tighten up the lineup a little bit more. So points, rebounds, and assists, I think Veronica Burton has to be it. I think she has to, just based off volume alone. 22.5 is the number. You can see she's over in 9 of her last 10 games, averaging 23 and 23.5 in her last 4 games. We look at the head-to-head matchup. The matchups this season, these 4, you can see that, the home game she's played well, 29 and 26, but the road game she has struggled, only 13 and 18. And this goes into just the matchup in general between these 2 teams and how the Valkyries have really, really struggled to score the basketball in I was about to say in Vegas, but in Minnesota specifically. So real quick, just to put some numbers with that, because I did write it down. The Valkyries, what was it? Okay, all right. So at home wins and covers versus the Valkyries this season, Golden State was held to an average of 62 points on 35% shooting, 24% shooting from the 3-point line. So those are the 2 games that the Valkyries played in Minnesota. I mean, they literally couldn't score the basketball. They got the 71 and lost by 11 in the first matchup. Then they got the 53 in the most recent matchup that was played on Thursday, and they lost that game by 19. So take with that information, do what you want. I didn't bet the game, no. Next one up is the Liberty and the Mercury, and I do want to bet this game. I actually bet this game twice. The lines haven't moved a lot, so I'm like, I just kind of want to see where it settles. So we go through the injury report first, and the Liberty will be at full strength. One of the only times this season they've been at full strength. I mean, everybody's going to be there. Misiman off the bench, and Jacquel, and Brianna Stewart, and Sabrina Ionescu, and Phoebish, and Natasha Cloud making her playoff debut with this New York Liberty team, a team that she took to the brink last year. She had some really good games when she was still on the the Washington Mystics, and they were playing specifically in New York last season. One of the reasons I think they wanted to bring her over. And then on the Mercury side of things, they also have everybody off the injury report. I'll tell you guys right off the rip, man. I don't really like the Liberty have been god awful, specifically laying points on the road. I think they were something like 4-15 or something like that. Let me just double check it because I didn't write it down. When they were laying points on the road, they were 3-11 against the number this season. However, in my opinion, a lot of these games, they were not at full strength. I mean, that's not even opinionated, right? When they have a fully healthy roster, I have been on record for saying that I think the Liberty are going to win the championship this season. I don't think that anymore, though. I just think that because the way the injuries happen and trying to incorporate Emma Meeseman into the lineup, they just didn't. I don't think they had enough time to kind of click and gel. And that's the only scary part about this, because I do think that they're better than the Mercury. I do think that when they lace them up, I think the Liberty are going to win this series. I do. Now, if the Liberty came out and wet the bed because they haven't had that cohesion, that chemistry of being able to get everybody into the lineup, that wouldn't surprise me either. But I like Liberty and I like under. Those are my thought processes in this game. I think the Liberty can win this game. I know that, X factor, all that good stuff. I don't like the way the Mercury closed out the season. The Mercury actually finished the season with 3 straight losses, 3 straight non-covers. They kind of just gave up on being able to get to the 3rd seed. But they actually failed to cover the last 5 games. They didn't cover against the Fever. They didn't cover against the Mystics. They didn't cover against the Sun. They didn't cover against the Sparks. They actually lost to the Sparks, lost to the Sun, and lost to the Wings. Now, yes, they have, been resting players and, not really taking things too serious. But I think that the Liberty are the better team, man. I'm not betting against the Liberty. Is Liberty or nothing for me? Probably just take the money line, stay away from even the 1.5. We know some crazy things can happen in the WNBA specifically. Some crazy things can happen on Sunday as well. As far as the total goes, though, so both of these teams, I continuously say this over the full season. I didn't bet it as much as I probably should have. But both of these teams are under teams, right? You go back and just look at the last 10 games. Both teams 8-2 to the under. The Liberty last 10 games averaged 153 points during that span. 153 points. Against teams that had a winning record in their last 10 games, the Liberty were 5-0 to the under. Those games averaged 145 points. The Mercury last 10 games averaged 160 points. And that's with 2 of the overs coming in the last 3 games when they weren't really playing much defense and not even really caring about defense. They gave up 87 to the Sun. Absolutely can do better than that. And they gave up 97 to the Wings in their last game, and an 88-point game to the Sparks as well. They didn't have one single game in their last 10 games versus teams that had a winning record go over the total. They actually went 4-0 to the under when they were playing against teams that had winning records in their last 10 games. The Liberty don't quite, I mentioned this already, but they don't quite have that cohesion, with not having as much time to get everybody back into the rotation and on the floor. I think you always get inflated totals with the Liberty. I've talked about that all season. If you bet against the New York Liberty ATS wise and taking unders in their games, you made a ton of money. And I actually could have just blindly bet that all season and made a lot more money than the losing record that I had this season. The totals just always set a little too high. It's going to be somebody that doesn't shoot the ball well. Sabrina Ionescu, more recently, I think she shot 1 for 5 against Chicago in that last game from the 3-point line. And you can't really rely on all of the points that you think are going to be scored, in my opinion. So I'm going through this whole long rabbit hole, but the more research I did, the more I like the under 164.5. This total opened at 161. It got bet up to 164.5, and it's kind of stopped. There's a 164 out there on Caesars. I think the total's too high. Last couple things I want to mention, especially as far as the Liberty go. They also go into this game 10th in offensive rating in the last 5 games. So it's only been 3 offenses worse than them as they kind of click and try to gel. And they're 12th in pace over the last 5 games, 13th in pace over the last 10 games. And if you are new to the WNBA, it's only 13 teams. Surprisingly, number 1 in points allowed as well in their last 5 games. They allowed just 70.2 points per game in their last 5 games. From a trend perspective, the Phoenix Mercury were 4-1 to the under as home dogs this season, with those games averaging 148 points. And that's the position that they're in this season. The Liberty, matter of fact, as road favorites, also finished 7-7. They finished 7-7 to the over under. But I like this game. I think under is the best way to play. I think the Liberty also get the job done. That's my thought process here. Let's see what you guys are thinking. From a player prop perspective, I think the Emma Mieseman one makes a lot of sense. I don't really want to trust Sabrina on the road. I feel like her numbers are still a little bit inflated, but I don't really want to bet against her either. I think the way that the Liberty like this, the way that the Phoenix Mercury like to shoot the 3-point shot, if the Liberty can get them off the 3-point line, I think they struggle. I really do think that they struggle a lot in this spot. Alyssa Thomas is probably going to have a day. I like the Emma Mieseman look. I think Jacko Jones, potential 2 threes, and probably just Stewie. I feel like she has the best matchup in this game as well. Clear Copper is somebody that is kind of hot or cold as well. I feel like all of the Phoenix Mercury players like are hot or cold, right? Satu Sabli can be extremely cold. She hasn't had the best season. Same thing with just the Sammy Wickham. Like it's a lot of players on the Phoenix Mercury. I think they're just hot or cold, and I expect the Liberty to show up in this game. Let's see what you guys are thinking about this one real quick. Where are we? Playing in San Jose, Dom said, okay. Dom says Liberty in the under for me. I like it. Mark says Liberty for the chip. I do like the Liberty to win the whole thing. The best line you can get for the Liberty right now is plus 110 over on bet. ESPN bet. ESPN bet got a plus 110. And I mean, if they go down in the series, you might get a better number. But going into it, I don't know if you're gonna get a better number on the Liberty. I mean, on the Lynx. So I do like that as well. What up, James? Appreciate you for tapping in. Mark says those ATS numbers make me nervous. I'll play the under. They scare the hell out of me too, Mark, if I'm being honest with you. Boy, I really want to play the Liberty, though. I do think that they win the game. I do think they come back home to New York, Barclays, up 1-0. I think they're going to leave it all out there for sure. I just worry about the cohesion, like I said. All right, let's go to the next one. We got I must have skipped over one. I had to skip over one. I skipped over the Dream and the Fever, so we'll go back to the Dream and the Fever in just a second. Because that game actually is the second game. So I just skipped to the third game. Most of you guys probably know that already. But yeah, let's go back. So Fever Dream, line 7.5, open 7 on most books, total 159.5, open about 159.5. So it hasn't really moved a lot at all. We start with the injury report. The Fever, of course, will be without Caitlin Clark and all of the other players that they've missed. I think it's 4 of them all together. All 4 guards. Dantes is also listed as out, and then Atlanta should be at full strength. This is an interesting matchup. You give, in my opinion, I start with the coaching matchup in this game. And Stephanie White is a long time WNBA coach. She has coached her teams, into the playoffs. And then on the opposite side, you got Carl, who will be making his first playoff, debut as far as a head coach in the WNBA. So, kind of want to give the coaching advantage a little bit to the Indiana Fever. I do think that they are a team that is going to play hard. They could have been easily gave up on the season, like losing all their players. I don't think that they're going to win this series. I like Atlanta to win this series. I like Atlanta to win the series in 2 games as well. I just don't necessarily like the Atlanta Dream to cover. I don't know if they're going to end up covering these spreads. Now, more recently, Indiana is kind of getting hot at the right time as well. I don't think that this is a really good defensive team. I know that they playing some really good defense as of late, but I don't think that they're a really good defensive team. I think just looking at their matchups, they played against some pretty decent opponents. Like they had a big win in here against the Lynx, where it felt like the Lynx were, not kind of just going through the motions. But this is going to be a real good test. Atlanta is, as you see on the screen, second best defensive rated team on the full season. They are just a juggernaut in general. So I do think Atlanta, can get the job done here. I looked at Atlanta. They finished 16-6 straight up at home, 14-7-1 against the spread when they won their games by average of 9.8 points per game. They did finish the season on a 4-game home winning streak and also covered all 4 of those spreads, winning those games by between 11 and 25 points. I think they can get the job done. I just don't want to lay this big of a number. I think Indiana will be feisty. I think Indiana, offensively, I think they last 5 games, they finished 3rd in offensive rating. They've been a really good offensive team. I just don't think they're going to be able to stop Atlanta. If you go through and look at Atlanta's last few games, Atlanta's been a very inconsistent offensive team, but somehow they're still 2nd in offensive rating. It's absolutely kind of crazy. And we know that I expect Atlanta to be able to win the game with their defense. On the season, they finished 3rd in points allowed, just 76.8. Last 10 games, number 1, 73.8 points allowed. And then last 5 games, 76.8 as well. So this team is playing some really good basketball right now. They actually finished the season number 1 in offensive rating over the last 5 games. That scares me because I know Atlanta can absolutely wet the bed. Brian Howard is someone that's extremely inconsistent, extremely inefficient. But they did finish 2nd in defensive rating, and I think Atlanta can win the game with their defense. I think that Indiana's going to struggle to score the basketball. Atlanta really locks in defensively. They're number 1 in opponent points, in points allowed off turnovers, and opponent second chance points, opponent fast break points. Like I think that the Fever are going to struggle to score the basketball. And the thing about the Atlanta Dream is they play slow. 2nd slowest pace team, right behind the Golden State Valkyries. 12th in pace over the last on the full season. Even though they did pick it up right before the season ended, they finished 7th in pace over the last 5 games, but 11th in pace over the last 10 games. So I do think Atlanta will be feisty in this game. I think that they will struggle to score the basketball. I like the team total under if I was going to bet this game. But I also think that there's a way that the Dream could score. And, I don't think that the Fever defensively, I think that they're a little overblown. I don't like the Fever defensively as much. But we've seen this Indiana Fever team fight. They've been feisty before. They've been feisty without all their players. Specifically, what comes to mind is their game against the Minnesota Lynx in the Commissioner's Cup when they were shorthanded without Caitlin Clark, went into Minnesota and won that game. So backs against the wall in this spot. Game 1 is pivotal, of course, because game 2 will be played back at home in Indy. But I think the Fever, let's see real quick. Fever's road dogs finished 5-5. They did lose by an average of about 8 points per game, but they have covered their last 2. They beat the Sparks by 1. They were getting 2 points. They beat the Mercury by they lost to the Mercury, but did end up covering the spread. They were getting 7.5, lost the game by 6. And I think they did fail to cover that first line because we talked about taking the Mercury in that game. I didn't play it officially, but Mercury did win and cover that opening line. But yeah, I think the Fever are going to struggle to score the basketball. I think the Dream will turn up defensively, even if their offense is not going in this one. Let's see what you guys are thinking here. Mark says he got in early. He got Atlanta -6. Dom says he'll play Fever first half. So real quick, to that Fever first half spot, I didn't mention this because I didn't want to be too long-winded. But if we go over to see if I can find the link. I got like a million links open for all the handicapping that's going on right now. I want to go over to, I see the link I need. All right. So if we go over to the Money Baller, I just want to go over to Money Baller real quick. The first half under is probably going to stick out in this game. Because if you think that the Dream offense may struggle and the Fever may play defense for a half, I think you like the under in this spot. So today is the 14th. I didn't even look into this yet, but using Money Baller, but it just kind of makes sense in my head. So we go Fever versus Dream, full season. So there are a lot of, and there's the link in the description if you guys want to check out the Money Baller. You can get a 50% off your first month, I think it is, using the code in the description. So rest advantage, well rested, blah, 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 blah. Weigh-in won the previous matchup. Back a dog off a win as a dog with more rest. Back the road team with more rest. And then there are a couple that are favorable for the Dream as well. They rusty road teams off 4 days rest. All right. So if we come down here and we start looking at ATS and we look specific, I'm sorry, over under in the first half. So here we go. The Dream in the first half were out of the 42 games that they played, or 40, what is that? 40, 42, 40, 44 games, 43 games that are listed here. I think they should have played 44. So one may be missing. 31, 11, and 1 to the under in the first half. That's significant. As a home favorite, 11 and 7 to the under as well. That's significant in my opinion. Just an absolute under machine for the Dream, specifically in the first half. Fever also finished under in the first half, 23 and 21 to the under, as Road Dogs 5 and 4 to the under in the first half as well. This makes sense to me. Look at the Dream's defense in the first half. Opponents were 30 and 13 to the under in the first half. This was a really good defensive team, man. The Dream plays slow. Their offense struggles. Recently, their offenses look good, though. But I just wanted to kind of highlight that and show you guys that, because that was something that was in the back of my mind, even without doing the research. I just kind of remember that trend throughout the season. Dream early typically goes under. Dream early typically goes under. If it cashes, y'all tag me and then let me know. I don't think I'm going to play it, though. Let's see. What's up, Niley? She says, morning, Chris and everyone popping in for the like and comment. My Lynx first quarter and third quarter, Dream money line and -6.5. Mercury plus 2.5. Aces money line -6.5. We're going to talk about that last game in just a second. Dom says, kitchen sink game for the Fever. I think they covered a 7.5 as well. So a little Fever love here. Natalie says, also taking Aces first quarter, second quarter, third quarter money line. Okay. Brian says, good morning, Chris and chat. Let's find it. We need it. We need it. Mark says, I actually played Atlanta first half, -3, juiced. I think Atlanta's going to get up for this game, man. I absolutely do. We'll see, though. We shall see. Mark says, I hope you got some cash on that got some of that Crawford cash. I did not bet it last night, but watched every single second of it, Mark. One of the reasons I woke up a little late this morning, I was tired, man. That fight went off at 2 a.m. this morning. That's way past my bedtime. But it was a really good fight, though, man. Shout out to Crawford and Canelo for that putting on that show last night. Really, really good boxing match. All right, next up we have the Storm and the Aces. This line still sitting at 5.5. It's actually come down. It opened with the Aces laying 7. So the Storm are taking money here, man. It's interesting. We go through the injury report briefly. Seattle will be at full strength. I feel like they've pretty much been at full strength for the whole season. The Aces just listed Kirsten Bell as I think I saw her listed as out, but No. I saw her listed as out in the last game. She's officially listed as game time decision. She did not play in their last game against the Sparks with a leg injury. So this is actually the simplest game for me. It's the simplest game, man. I don't trust the Storm. I think the Aces win the game. I think they cover the spread. I don't understand why the money's coming in on the Storm in this spot. 5.7 down to 5.5. However, I will say this before I start giving the Aces all the praise. The Storm, for whatever reason, this is when you want to fade the Storm. This is when you want to back the Storm. I talked about, fading the last bet that I make, which I haven't been making too many bets. The last bet I made was Golden State plus the 7, and Golden State on the road at the rest disadvantage, all that good stuff. They go into Seattle, they end up almost winning the game, but losing the game outright by 1 point. Right, that was the Eric Wheeler game winner. But we got cash in that spot. This is the spot where, if you're just looking at ATS stuff, this is where you want to take the Seattle Storm. As road dogs this season, they finished 4-2 straight up. So not only were they covering these games, but they won them outright. 4-2 straight up as road dogs, 5-1 against the number in their 6 road games this season as dogs. But I can't look past the Aces right now. Aces are on a 16-game winning streak, and they finished second in the WNBA. If you just go through and look at the numbers for the Aces, if you're betting on consistency, if you like consistency, then you got to like the Aces in this spot, man. The Aces, the numbers that you guys see on the screen on the right-hand side, 4th in offensive rating, 8th in defensive rating, 5th in net rating, 6th in points per game. This is all of full season numbers. Opponent points per game, 80.7, 7, pace 7th as well. However, I should have maybe put this on the screen, but you can listen to them right now. Last 5 games, last 10 games, Aces has been the best team in the WNBA. Last 5 games, they're number 1 in offensive rating, defensive rating, net rating, points per game, 2nd in opponent points per game. They're giving up 73.9 points per game. They have not had to do a lot of traveling at all. Most of these games have come in LA. I don't know how the schedule makers did that, but even when they had to go on the road, they still took care of business. Last 5 games, number 2 in offensive rating, number 1 in defensive rating, number 1 in net rating, number 2 in points per game, number 3 in opponent points per game. I know 5.5 seems like a big number. I think the Aces win this game. I don't necessarily think it's going to be that close, honestly. More specifically, though, I think early, now Ellie mentioned it, but I think early makes a ton of sense as well. So I did my research, right? The Aces first quarter, you can get So during that 16-game winning streak, which is crazy to go on a 16-game winning streak, during that 16-game winning streak, they are plus 3.1 in the first quarter, a plus 7.5 in the first half. So they typically have about an 8-point lead at halftime. They have a 4-point lead at the end of the first quarter. Today, you can get the Aces first quarter minus 1.5. Either the books know something that I don't know, or they just didn't have it priced in. Aces first quarter minus 1.5, just for them to be winning by a bucket. First half, you can get a minus 2.5. There's some 2.5s out there. There's some 3s out there. I'm not afraid of the Storm, man, in general. The only thing that scares me is that ATS record is road dogs. I think the Aces will shut the Storm offense down to see if you go. And I did my research, right? So if you go in and look at the Storm, one of the things that they do really, really well is they score a bunch of points off turnovers. This is the best team in the WNBA. They get about 17 points per game, 17 and a half on the full season in points per game. Number one, last 5 games, 19.4. So it's gotten even better. Second in points off turnovers. Guess what the Aces do? They don't really turn the ball over. Number 3 on the full season. They give up just 13.9 points off turnovers. Last 5 games, number 2. Last 10 games, number 2. So I like the Aces in this spot. I think that that's a big, big reason. If the Storm don't win the rebounding battle, which they do get the second chance points in the last 5 games, but on the full season they're 12th. Aces have been giving it up. They give up the second most second chance points. So if Malunga and Ezzy aren't grabbing offensive boards, same thing with Gabby Williams, I do think that they're going to struggle to score the basketball. Here's the other thing I like about the Aces. You know what the Storm like to shoot the ball from? The 3-point line. The 3-point line. They shoot and make the 4th most above the break threes at the 4th highest percentage. On the full season, they actually finished 3rd in 3-point field goal percentage. They shot 38.2%. Last 5 games, they shot 38.2%, which was 3rd best. Full season, they shot 34.2%, which is 5th. And the Aces, actually, this is one of the reasons I liked them against Minnesota when they were at home in that game as well. They actually finished number 2 on the full season as far as opponent 3-point shooting. 31.6% is what they allowed. Last 5 games, though, 26.4%. Last 10 games, 23.7% is what the Aces allow from the 3-point line. And they run you off the 3-point line. 4th in opponent 3-point attempts on the full season. 4th in opponent 3-point attempts last 10 games and last 5 games, all finished 4th. So they don't even allow you to shoot that many threes. To me, that says that Ezzy's going to have to get busy. I'm sorry, not Ezzy. I don't really like Ezzy too much, and I don't know what her minutes going to look like. Coach Noelle Quinn also she's definitely at a coaching disadvantage in this matchup. In my opinion, my humble opinion. But yeah, I think not Ezzy, but Nneka. Nneka's gonna have to get busy in this game. If you like something for Seattle, I think you just I think that's what you take. I think you take Nneka to potentially have a really good game in this spot. But yeah, I think Aces first quarter, Aces first half makes the most sense in my opinion here. Haven't bet it yet, but that's what I like. That's what I like here. Let's see. Mark says he likes over 160.5. I think the Aces are definitely going to be able to score. I mean, last 5 games, last 5 and 10 games, this team got an offensive rating of 114.8. In Seattle, I can't really trust them defensively. On the full season, they did finish 4th in defensive rating, but last 5 games, they finished with a 101.8 defensive rating, which is 7th. And I think this is when you can tell that the proof is in the pudding, right? And the reason why I say that is because Seattle had to scratch and claw to get into the playoffs. The games that they should have won, they were at home with rest advantages, and they barely were able to get up and over the hump in those games. And I think that they're kind of crawling into the playoffs, honestly. Now, do I think they deserve to be there more than the Sparks? I do, because the Sparks don't play any defense. Sparks only want to make the playoffs if you can play just offense. And Seattle is a really good. They had some stretches of good defense. I just don't like them as much since Lim has gotten over there. Like this, Seattle is just not a team that can put it together, in my opinion. They've had some very impressive wins. They, went to Minnesota, won that game. Skylar Diggins doing a little electric slide, moving all around. I think it's over. And I think the Aces win both games as well. Like, I'm gonna go out and stand on the Aces and their streak that they're running right now, 16 in a row, I think goes to 18 in a row. I like the Aces to win the series. You can get them. Only reason I haven't played this because I haven't shopped around for all the games, for all the books. But you can get the Aces to win this series in 2 at plus 100. It's probably better odds out there, but I do think that they go to Seattle and get the job done as well. That's how I feel strongly about the Aces. I really, really do. Mark says Becky has them rolling. Dom says Storm are like the women deep down is bad for you, but you keep going back to them and getting heartbroken, not falling for it. Aces -5.5 for me, and I agree with that. I'll say this, man. If you've been someone that's been betting with the, that's been betting, and taking the way that the line is gone, it's not proven well for you. There's so much variance and volatility in betting WNBA this season. Hasn't been profitable. If you go the opposite, most of the time you cash more, in my opinion. Marsh is definitely coaching advantage. Yeah, I mean, Becky can run circles around Noelle Quinn. Noelle Quinn talks so lightly. She speaks like this. I don't even think they listen to what she be saying. I don't think they can hear her. She's so soft-spoken, man. What's up, Kilo? He says, happy Sunday, man. Appreciate the content the whole season. Appreciate you, bro, for tapping in, man. Nephew says, oh, appreciate that for reposting the stream. Definitely appreciate that. Nelly says, I say Aces go to the finals and possibly win it all. I think that the Minnesota Lynx win it all, but the Aces are, I don't know how many games you got to win in a row for a team, to be taken serious, but I think the Aces they got the attention of everybody in the WNBA. And the only thing that they really, really struggle with is offensive rebounds that they've allowed. They actually, even during their last 10 games where they're 10-0, they still allowed the most offensive rebounds. So unless they run up against a team that's, giving up a ton of offensive rebounds, Aces are prime position, man, to make a really, really deep run. I do think that they're gonna beat the Mercury. I do think that they're gonna beat the if the Mercury win. I think they could beat the Liberty as well. But we'll see what the Liberty look like. The Liberty game today is gonna tell us a lot about just chemistry and cohesion, in my opinion. Brian says Aces have been tearing through teams. Definitely like them tonight. Yeah, 10 o'clock start time game, man. I will have my money on the Aces in some form or way. And I really didn't look into player props in this game. Asia is absolutely, kind of like her commercial on top, can take her spot. Like, so I probably be betting on Asia. Malunga is a really good defender, but Asia is, in a different stratosphere. And at home in the playoffs, first quarter -1.5, I think it's a really good look, man. Those are my thought processes on all of the games for today. If you join late, go back, catch the top of the stream, and you will understand why I like each one of these bets for today. What I played is always in green, so you guys see nothing, but what I would play is absolutely in red. And I will be making a couple bets today, man. Again, down, a little over 10.5 units on the full season. It's been very, very, I wouldn't even say up and down, but there has been up and downs, right? It's been more down than up, but we still got the playoffs to see if we can get right, man. See if we can get our coins back. And recoup a little bit of the money that the sports books, we lend it to the sports books for right now, if you've been riding with me. So those are what I like. Those are the plays I like. Resources are all linked here. Told you guys what Jackson liked. Showed you guys the outlier looks as well. Moneyballer, we went through Moneyballer as well. Hit the like button for me on the way out. Subscribe to the channel. Turn the notification bell on. Enjoy your Sunday, man. I'm not going through NFL on the show just because I got a lot of other things to do and I got to get them done before the show actually starts. It's a vegan festival today in Charlottesville. I'm on my way to that before the games start. Enjoy the games, man. Enjoy your Sunday, and best of luck on whatever it is you guys are betting, man. I'll catch you guys in the next one. I'm out.